we don't do this often, but I will reveal that today is Halloween. Tonight is Halloween, and this is going to be. If a child is less than 2, they don't care about Halloween, do they?
No, he does not care about Halloween. He doesn't understand it, but we tried to put a costume on him, and he knew somehow that he doesn't want to wear anything on his head. Did your kid they don't want to wear anything on their heads? They
have to put that. There has to be some sort of elastic keeping it on.
But
so they don't have a choice.
Yeah, but then my kid is ripping it off. So that I knew. We wanted. He's limited interest, frankly. He likes blueberries. So I was like,
I'm limited. That's specific.
Yeah.
Focus.
He loves them.
Yeah. Well, he probably just loves any antioxidant.
He loves antioxidants. He's a health nut.
Yeah.
He's an absolute.
I'm told that was my first word.
Yeah.
Antioxidant! True, because I worried about cancerous cells.
As a young child.
In the early 60s.
Is that how you spoke?
That's
how I spoke as a child.
Weird.
Well, that's also me. That's me very young. It's also me very old, as a very old woman.
Which is happening slowly, or
yes. Oh, I'm transitioning. I'm getting older and transitioning at the same time.
What a dream.
Yeah.
I will happily come back on the podcast at that point.
I'd love to be a cruel old woman someday.
You're getting there.
Yeah.
Right? I'm getting there.
Virtually there.
Yeah. I just want to peer. I want to part my curtains and peer suspiciously out the window of my Victorian mansion.
Yes.
At young couples just doing completely normal things and go, we'll see about that. And then call the police. That's what I really dream of.
Calling the police regularly.
Calling the police
things.
as a really old Karen, an old lady Karen.
I just like you in a big bed.
Yeah, I'm in a giant bed, and I have a long-suffering butler who takes care of me. Who's just putting...
Yes, Mrs. Conan.
Did you see any youngsters outside this morning?
We will have the dogs out upon them, Mrs. Conan. Good.
Do you have a hard candy I could suck on?
Ew.
Oh.
What the
Be
fuck?
good time.
What the fuck?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. The only thing that calms me when I'm an old woman is a hard butterscotch to suck on. Soothing.
Can't even take the plastic off of it. It's so melted in.
Yeah.
Come on, he's eating the plastic.
Yeah, but I call it the skin.
on.
I like it with the skin.
God. What are you wearing in this bed?
Oh, I'm wearing a tattered old wedding dress. A Miss Havisham Dickens wedding dress. Because he didn't show on the day.
And then a Clippers hat.
Pulled rakishly to the side. Now I'm going to rap for y'all. My name is Conan, and I'm here to say no, not that 80s rap, please.
Where the fuck did this go?
This is Halloween.
Where did this go? Why are you rapping?
Well, because
man.
you put a Lakers hat on me,
Yeah.
and then a Clippers hat, and then it went on sideways, and then
Where else can you go?
Then you gotta go to rap.
Okay, sorry.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the scariest ghost story I've ever heard.
So that was, ironically, so that's what my kid's Halloween costume ended up being.
Tattered wedding
It's
dress.
Mrs. Conan.
Yeah.
Old Mrs. Conan.
That's fantastic.
And that was why I think the costume took a little work to get into.
It is funny how you're in that. There's this phase where you're doing things because it's supposed to be for the kid, but their full computer hasn't turned on yet. So, and you know this too, Gourley, where it's yay, you're going to sit on Santa's lap, or Happy Hanukkah, or
Thank you, by the way.
well, threw
Thanks
that
for
in
bringing
there
it. Appreciate that.
Is it Chanukah?
No, it's Hanukkah. You got it right.
Well, okay.
And is it Christmas? Or how do you...
It's Conan.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. The Jewish narc trying to pass.
So you say, I love that. I love the idea. A Jewish narc.
Yeah. Is Shmanta here? Merry Christmas. Another Christian boy. Here, not for your blood.
And now you're not sure about the traditions. You're trying to light the tree on
We
fire.
light all the candles on the tree on fire.
No, you don't do that.
And we don't control the media today. Is Kanye coming on? Are you going to get him to come on? Is Kanye coming on?
Yeah. He's on right after you. He's outside. He's ready to come in. I was thinking, to be responsible, I should not buy Kanye stuff, and then I realized I've never bought Kanye stuff. I would never wear Kanye stuff.
You don't want to buy sweatshirts for the very depressed?
Exactly.
All of his sweatshirts are so like tattered
Yeah.
and big. Like you don't wear that if you're in a good mood.
Right.
Okay.
You took us there.
Sorry I brought it down there. Should have stayed on Jewish stereotypes in Christmas.
It was good. But once Kanye comes up,
It's over.
the whole mood changes.
I know, it's been wild. But anyway, so my kid won't wear a costume. And that's so you normally wouldn't date this as a Halloween. You don't date it. You don't want people to know when this is, when this came, when this
Well,
I
I'm
would say
looking,
hang up about
I'm
that.
looking
We
at
don't
our
care.
I'm looking at our producer here.
He's giving a thumbs up.
Yeah, and he's saying it's fine. Look, people, we can acknowledge that that things sometimes. I don't know when this is coming out. When's it coming out?
Things that,
November 7th. It's just a week
yeah.
later.
Yeah.
People are still reeling from Halloween
yeah.
at this point,
Hey,
a week later.
Still got that Halloween candy out.
Right?
You know, some of that stuff you can have for a couple of months.
Some of that stuff you can really keep getting kids to come to your house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean exactly?
Wait
Yeah.
a minute.
Well, if you've got the candy out, then kids keep coming to the house.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But why?
Yeah.
What do you mean, why? Let's not ask why. It's good to have kids around.
Can we get Kanye in here? I'd feel a little more comfortable.
When you're bringing Kanye in to lighten the mood, you know you have a problem.
You know, you
I may
got
have
an
mentioned this, but
bit.
I told you once that my brother Justin and I were in Boston, and he had his kids with him, and we just stopped in Boston Common. There was a playground there,
think so.
and I'm leaning against this chain link fence with my brother, and it's, I don't know, December or something, and my brother's kids are playing in the playground, and I'm just hanging out. And this guy came by, and no joke, just this Boston guy came by and was like, "Hey, Conan, you know," he's like, "Hey, Conan, you got a kid in that playground?" And I just said, "You better fucking hope so." Like, no, I just heard there was a playground here, and I wanted to kind of hang out. But it was like, what a weird question.
That's just the Boston version of saying you got a dog in this fight.
Yeah, but maybe it is.
You got
Maybe
a
it
kid in
is.
this playground? Hi, my name is Nick Kroll, and I feel strongly about Conan O'Brien's friend.
Not about being my friend, but about Conan O'Brien's friend.
Yes.
So I don't have a lot of friends,
Yeah.
so I don't know which one you feel strongly about.
I'm gonna go with Marty Short.
Okay.
I feel strongly about Marty Short.
And guess what? If we contacted him right now, he would say, "I really don't consider Conan a friend. I really don't." Marty, he's always so good at something that sounds like a compliment, and he goes like, one of the more recent ones is, "Conan, I mean, you've done so incredibly well when you consider the talent you have."
The supercut. I did stumble on a supercut of him just roasting you on your show on YouTube. Just quickly, if I can just promote YouTube. If you want to go see clips online, YouTube is a great website.
And this is something you started a while ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a family business.
Yeah. Well, the old family name was YouTubian.
Yeah.
And he-
Thank you for making me Armenian and not Jewish.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
out of-
Why'd you point to me?
Out of respect.
out of respect for you and your Armenian heritage.
Thank you. Okay, that's
Yeah.
very nice of you.
Yeah.
I thought if he was Armenian, you'd say his name was Nick Nickian, because that's what you think Armenian names
No,
are.
I can't remember I love your husband, Tak,
Yeah.
but instead of learning his last name, I always call him Taxesian. And,
Oh, that's funny though.
but I mean, it's just
It's good, very fun. It's good wordplay.
Guess.
Yeah, it's very clever. I think of you as a friend. We've known each other for a while,
We have.
and you are unfailingly funny. Always funny.
Thank you.
You really are.
That's a weird, unfailingly funny. It's one to navigate. It's a word you don't know exactly where you stand inside of
It's a
it.
put down.
Yeah, okay.
No, it is not a put
No,
down. When I'm around you, we've had meals together. We have enjoyed each other's company. You'd all those years you would come on late night. We were just talking before the show about one of my favorite things ever that you did on the show, which is a specific kind of 1970s acting that involved a guy eating with no manners, throwing food into his mouth that also available on YouTube.
Yeah. Again, great website. 70s.
And a good family
I think my first late night appearance was on your show, and which was a great was truly like couldn't believe that I was on your show. Could not believe it.
Right.
And so
you fired your agent the next day.
I fired my agent. I fired my publicist, and I left the business for 5 years. I reconnected with myself. And then I looked in the mirror every day and I said, "You are unfailingly funny."
Yeah.
I was confused every day when I heard the statement.
It's a good tongue twister too.
It is.
It's proof. It's
but truly it was, but we did, but then so it's crazy to be on your show, but then to feel like genuinely we've had dinner. You said we've had dinners. We've had very intimate dinners together.
Yes, we have.
Just the two of us.
Yeah.
Alone in Manhattan Beach, on the water. A seafood meal. But no, we have had dinners together, which is also all those little things are very been very important for me.
I want to say that there's been a couple of times where we've intentionally tried to get a bunch of funny people together, and you're always part of the equation. Other people come in and out. And I take that to mean that you're just available.
Yes, I am. I am always tech avail for Hanks. I'll drop anything. Family. I am.
You're right there.
I am unfailingly available.
Unfailingly available. I wish you were my enemy, Nick Kroll. Because
it's not too late.
Well, listen to me. Hear me out on this. I was thinking about this on the way over. You've got such a great last name for an enemy.
Kroll.
Yeah, because if you were always if you were my nemesis and you were constantly doing things to me, getting me, I could go, Kroll.
I mean,
isn't that a great last name?
If you want, I can live across the street from old Mrs. Conan in a house,
and then I can peer out and go, Kroll.
Yeah, I'm just like a Jimmy Goldstein-esque character throwing massive parties, like weird, loud, DJ'd parties. I'm wearing like rhinestone cowboy outfits.
That's what you would do.
It is truly. I saw him. I went to a Lakers game last night and saw. Do you guys know Jimmy Goldstein? James Goldstein? He's one of the great-looking men in the world. He's the guy at every basketball game who's wearing like a rhinestone cowboy.
I've seen him. I didn't know that was his name.
Yes, and he owns that crazy house, that super mid-century like lair. That's in, I don't know. The
Lautner house in Big Lebowski?
Yes, that's his house. Yeah. He owns that
house.
And
what is his claim to fame other than having the coolest clothes?
He goes to like every basketball game, and they all know him and like him, and he flies everywhere. He's at almost every game everywhere. Wow. Next time you're watching a basketball game, you'll see Jimmy Goldstein.
It'd be great if he had no money.
Yes. It's
just, none, and he was constantly scamming the money to get just in the door and to buy a few more rivets for his pants.
Well, that's why I want to be your old Mrs. Conan's nemesis, Kroll, who lives in what's so lavish, massive, loud parties, but he's always coming by to borrow money from you.
Conan the Barbarian used to yell about, who is it? There was a wit. Crom.
But there's a movie called Krull.
This Krull, Krull.
Right, but Conan the Barbarian goes, Crom!
Yeah.
And, so I just, Kroll feels to me like that would work for me.
Kroll. I want to make sure it works for you, first off.
Well, your concern should be.
Yeah, I mean, here we are.
You know?
You need a friend.
Apparently, yes. If you think if you think my closest friend is Marty Short, and that you can go online and watch him destroy me in a supercut.
Yeah, would you ever do a follow-up podcast as Conan O'Brien needs an enemy, and it's just me, it's you every time.
Yeah, it's me every time. It's you every time, and we're just, you'd be down with that,
That's
right,
Gourley?
Great
idea. That's a fantastic idea.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I am available. I am unfailingly
the whole
available.
Episode, you just tear into him.
But also reasons, and reasons why you do think you'd make a great enemy, and just your long-standing hatred for me, and just all kinds of things you intend to do to me to take me down.
How would Kroll open that little script for the intro of this show?
Hi, my name is Nick Kroll, and I feel great about being Conan O'Brien's enemy. Here's why. Over the next 46 podcasts in the next year, you will hear how I arrived at this moment. The mystery survolving the enemies that I have inside of Conan's universe.
you have a stand-up special that you've done, which is a new turn for you. I mean, so often I see you submerged in characters and voices, and you're so good at it, and then to sort of be yourself up there talking is quite, I imagine, a different experience.
Yeah, it was. I've always sort of done stand-up as a sort of a side thing. Like I always had I always had a little bit of 15, 20 minutes of material, but it was always, and I did a special years and years ago, but even that special was sort of half characters and half stand-up. And then I just burped. And I tried to talk through it, and
let's play that again.
Can we hear that back?
And there it is.
Okay, we can go on YouTube and check that out later. Okay, so
enhance it too.
Yeah, really.
You got
Get in there, dig it out. So it was always felt like a thing I did on the side, and then it was like, and I realized part of that was out of fear. I think because it's, doing even like going and doing like 70s Eater on your show, it was like, oh, that feels like more versus me sort of getting up there and telling some story from my life. It was like, oh, this feels like more fun and different. So ultimately, I wanted to do it and sort of be like, I can be a real like stand-up comedian on stage for an hour and do this. This is a pretty low bar. As I say it out loud, I'm like, I really just wanted to be on stage for an hour as myself and see if I could physically do that. But I did.
I did a special where I ate 75 eggs for Netflix in 40 minutes, and it's coming out.
Is it?
Yeah.
Conan Hand Luke? Yeah. Anyway, so I did that, and then it was great. It took a long time. I started before the pandemic and toured for a while, and then the pandemic happened. And if you guys haven't checked that out, you guys should check out the the pandemic.
The pandemic is on tomorrow.
Yeah, the pandemic's on tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, the COVID variants are coming on later in the week.
Yes.
But the original is on tomorrow.
The original's on tomorrow.
Who's very bitter about the variants, by the way. Really like, hey, what the fuck? I was here. I'm the one that locked it all down, and now there's fucking variants. What did they come up with?
COVID is a New York Italian?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we all knew that.
I think we were all pretty clear about that.
Yeah.
And then life sort of the fun of doing stand up and the tricky thing is sort of allowing people in to being like, here's who I am, or here's the narrative I want to tell you. And so the lockdown happened, and I got married and had a child, and that sort of began to affect the material, and ultimately so I shot it like almost 2 years after I thought it was going to, and now it's done. Feel good about it.
That's right, and congratulations on a boy.
Yes, a masculine child.
May he be a masculine child, and a little over a year old, right?
Yeah, almost 2, which is a little over.
Well, which is it? A little over a year or almost 2?
Let's call it almost 2.
Okay, I don't think this child exists. You seem very vague on the facts.
He's I guess he's sort of, people ask how tall he is. He's like sort of purple. Does that make sense?
It's clear you've had no child and you're just trying to use this.
No, it's got
for
hair.
Information.
It's got hair in all the parts. So
all of the parts?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
The TV in the middle of the stomach.
Ooh.
No, you didn't have
You
a
got
child.
a Teletubby, buddy.
Yeah, you got a Teletubby.
In fact, you got the gay one.
May he be a masculine gay child.
Oh, yeah.
Get with a television.
Yeah.
Television screen in his stomach.
Overcompensating.
Yeah. But he's a good thing. Whatever it is, it's
You know what
wonderful.
I'd like to do? I would like to do a stand-up special where I'm really opening up, but everything is a lie. And later, do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm talking about being a grandfather for the first time. And I'm talking about it, and I'm really opening up, and I'm talking about my divorce, but I'm not divorced. I don't have grandchildren. There's nothing.
Well, it gets a real emotional. Like I'd love the real, like the one-man show.
Yes.
Conan one-man show.
Yeah, and then
where
I talk
lessons
about,
are learned.
Yeah, and then the part where people really get mad is when I start talking about how I was in Nam, and people are like, "Okay, fuck you.
Yeah.
You were not in Vietnam." And I'm like, "No, I visited
It was like
in 2006.
It was a good trip.
I stayed at a 5-star hotel."
Yeah.
Let's talk about Big Mouth, because I love that show. Big Mouth is, and I particularly love how it's very funny and edgy, but also there's a sensitivity there to what kids are really going through. And you work hard on that, right? You try and talk to specialists, educated people who can give you some information, but it doesn't get in the way of the comedy. It's not one of those after-school specials where you feel everything's been compromised because of the message.
Yeah, I think again, just to, I'm not even getting paid that much by Google or YouTube, but if you want to you can go to check out. We went and talked to some kids on school. We went and did some sex education together.
That's right. You and I did.
Yeah.
I learned more than the kids. Yeah. I knew nothing.
But we do, I think.
Now, you and I did a remote where we went and talked to kids, and it was actually, there was some great moments in it.
There was a kid who looked so much like you. I don't know if you remember this, but
there was me, you idiot.
There was a kid I was doing the bit with on, but there was like a child there who looked exactly like you.
Yeah.
How old are all of you guys? How old are you guys?
15.
You're 15? Great.
18.
18. Conan has been married longer than you've been alive.
That's right.
Perhaps you are one of Conan's children.
This guy, actually. Look at this guy right here. Yeah, that's... You know what? It's a type. There's a type of child that looks a lot like me.
Like dead-ass handsome.
Aww.
Yes. Sort of like, shit, who shrunk Brad Pitt?
Okay.
Oh, it's a child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just a minute,
oh, wait.
sir.
Who shrunk Brad Pitt and then weirdly elongated him further out again?
Benjamin Button?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, any child that looks like me looks like they're 95 years old. And if you give them enough time, they grow into an incredibly handsome guy.
But we do take that. I think we take it seriously because I think ultimately, I don't know if we realized it when we started. I think we started. We're like, we're going to make a show that feels like a sort of my friend Andrew Goldberg and I, based on our childhood. We're going to talk about puberty. We're going to talk about kids masturbating, all that stuff. But I think after the first season came out, we realized, kids were going to actually watch the show, which we didn't really. We were making a show for us. So as time has gone on, we've got much more sort of serious about how we write it, how we think about it emotionally, but also kind of be responsible with the facts and things that we're talking about, talking to kids. This season, we have a character on this season played by Brian Tyree Henry, who people might know from Atlanta as Paperboy, or he's been in a bunch of. He's such a good actor. Anyway, he's playing a kid who turns out to be asexual, and that was something that, like, the internet Twitter, people have been asking us about representation of that kind of character. And so if we're going to do that, we try to talk to sex educators, to people who identify as asexual, start to have those conversations so that when we're doing it, we're being somewhat as faithful to a real story as possible, while simultaneously not being preachy or too after school, especially because and you can feel it when you're pitching it out. You're like, oh, this feels like we'll outline something, and you hear it out loud, and you're like, oh, we're being too like sort of preachy or finger waggy about this. And if it's not funny, then the larger things that we're talking about won't work. And if we're just trying to be funny without thinking about what's actually emotionally happening with these characters, then it lacks the real, like, huge jokes that could be that we can find.
Yeah, my philosophy has always been comedy should not instruct. And maybe I've taken that too far. People know less after they watch any of my comedy.
Well, I find all of your motorcycle maintenance videos super useful.
Yeah, they're. I wish I knew a little bit more about motorcycles before I did them.
Yeah.
I'm always telling people, put the pancake batter in this in this part of the motorcycle. And
does that work, by the way? If you put pancake batter in a motorcycle engine, does it work?
Long tubular dough comes out of the exhaust.
That's where fried dough.
It doesn't taste terrible. It's got some motor oil in there.
It doesn't quite taste like a state fair, but it's
close enough. Hey, if you're on the go and you want to have some fried dough in a tubular pipe shape, what better way than pouring batter?
Last minute,
engine?
last minute large intestines for a costume. Sorry,
very
guys.
nice idea.
Thank you.
And now,
thank you, Conan.
Yes, the Pope of Comedy has just blessed you. You may go now.
Oh, thank you.
You'll never wash that hand.
Well, it's weird now. When you hit a certain age, you have a hometown, but you feel so far removed. Like,
Yes.
I've been living in Los Angeles for 15 years, which feels insane to me that I've been in LA so much longer than I lived in New York or anywhere else in my life. I still don't know I can't go anywhere without GPS. I don't know how to get anywhere.
Did you, someone asked me the other day, because I first came to LA in 1985, and someone said, wait a minute, there was no GPS. What did you do? And I said, we had something called, this is where I sound like...
No, I had to use that.
Yeah,
I was born and raised here, yeah.
So I remembered I had a Thomas guide, which was like this big kind of almost phone book thing. And I'd be on a phone, not a cell phone, but just a telephone. And someone would say, yeah, we're having a Super Bowl at my house. It's in, Sherman Oaks. Oh, okay, that's in the Valley. Where are you? I'm at 325, Westridge Lane. And I'd say, okay, and I'd write that down. And then I would look up in the back and would say Westridge Lane, Thousand Oaks, page 75, B7.
A grid, yeah.
And then it was a grid. And then you would drive. I had a 1977 Isuzu Opal.
Whoa.
That looked like I bought it, obviously used at the airport. And it looked like they had butchered meat in the back seat. And to her credit, I went to a wedding once, and my date for the wedding was Lisa Kudrow. This is when she was doing improv, and I was doing improv, and we were what we would call friends. And I said, hey, maybe you should do a sitcom named that someday, and I'd like a piece of it. Well, someone forgot my piece. Anyway. I drove her to this bar mitzvah in that car, and she got in the car, and I saw her physically blanch. It was such a terrible car. But then she got in and didn't say anything about it, and I know she thought, oh, he murdered someone in the back seat. And now we're going to a wedding.
To be fair, there was butchered meat in the back seat of your car.
It's not a bad place to keep butchered meat. Keep an eye on it. No one can steal it.
But it is crazy to think that you would go into Tom's Cave, you'd be like, okay, it's Sherman Oaks, it's A25, page 76. And then you would have to then find the route from where you were to then be like, all right, I guess I'll take the one up. And then did you just hold it in? Because when I first came to LA, it was pre GPS. Would you like hold it in your lap?
I would keep. Yeah, you'd hold it in your lap, or you'd keep it sort of like, in the space between the two seats. Or I would keep mine often. I was hardly ever driving anybody. I was usually alone. So
yeah, because you're in a butcher van.
Yeah.
Yes. Was no chick magnet in my car, but. Yeah, you would do that, and I remember very clearly the first time I got GPS. Someone told me about it, and it was in a rental car I was using, and so I didn't know where my friend Greg Daniels was, and he said, I'm at this address, and I punched it in, and I just followed the directions. I don't know what year this would be, but I followed the directions, and then it said, turn to your right, and then it said, your destination is on your left, and I turned to my left, and Greg was standing right there, and I swear to God, I looked up and was like, Jesus is real! It was such a profound, insane experience.
Yeah, it was probably like a tom-tom or one of those like things that you put on the car. Yes.
Yeah, and I was blown away that was possible, and my kids, that's just the reality they know. They've had that their whole lives.
You really don't ever learn how to go anywhere. I've largely, since I've lived in LA, there's been some version of GPS, and I've like literally never learned how to drive anywhere in Los Angeles. I don't trust myself to drive anywhere.
Are you a good driver? A lot of New Yorkers are terrible drivers.
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm a fine driver. I'm like not great. I'm not a guy. Yeah, I've never been like. I don't know. I think it's weird when people are like, I'm a good driver. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're a good driver.
Yeah. It's like you're in the Indy 500.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Those guys are like, I speed a lot. That's what I feel like they're telling me. But I grew up driving. Since since I was like 6, I think I've been driving legally.
6.
You should be a pretty good driver.
I'm a pretty good driver. If it's like a tiny plastic car with a,
and if there's an adult pushing you, behind slowly on a level surface, then you're a good driver.
I'm a pretty good driver if I can steer it.
I want to ask you about this. This project, this blows my mind, and I love that this is happening. but you've directed a couple of sketches for this upcoming sketch series, History of the World Part 2.
Yes.
I saw History of the World Part 1 as a movie when it came out. I think it was
1981.
Yeah, 1981. So I was a teenager.
This is 4 years before moving to Los Angeles.
That's right.
Okay.
I would have been, 81. I would have been 17 years old when that movie came out. And I was, huge, as I am to this day, huge Mel Brooks fan. And what amazes me, and I've had the opportunity to interview him a number of times, he is always funny, unfailingly funny.
Yes.
One of the few who I can say that about. And he is now, I think he's 96.
He's 96 years
and
old.
you're working with Mel Brooks on this project, which blows my mind. That's such a high honor.
It is a crazy thing. Like, I would say for me, over the years, I would say, SNL, obviously, the Music Man episode from The Simpsons, and those are my biggest two influences. Mm-hmm. But truly, I mean, SNL obviously big, but Mel Brooks, those movies, really for me, the Producers was my favorite movie from when I was like 13 for many, many, many years. But Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, History of the World Part 1 are hugely important to my comedy development, and I became. I've had a meeting with Mel at his office, and he gave me a box of Raisinets, and it was like the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. And I
love that. I wonder if that's.
I think he probably does it with everybody. I think
that's great.
I don't know, but meeting him alone was truly incredible, and then I got a call being like, Mel wants to do History of the World Part 2. He'd like to do it with you. And it's me and Ike Barinholtz and Dave Stassen, his writing partner, and Wanda Sykes. And then an incredible group of writers and performers are doing a series for Hulu based off of, using the movie as a template, which is like historical sketch.
Right.
And Mel narrates the show. And I got to work with him. I mean, I got to, he's so sharp and so fun. He's still got bits. There's like jokes throughout the show that are pitches that he still has. And it's really the most weird, like the craziest thing that for me, I think I've ever experienced.
I think there's something that fascinates me about this generation, that generation of comedian. And I'm thinking about, Carl Reiner, Mel Brooks, Norman Lear, Bob Newhart. There are all these people that live, Norman Lear's now 100. Mm-hmm. I think Carl Reiner almost made it to 100. Mm-hmm. And what blows my mind is when I've had the opportunity to be around any of these people, they are the funniest people in the room. Mm-hmm. And I always had this fear, and I'll admit this is ageist, but it's something you worry about in comedy is will you get less funny? Will your mind, will you be less amusing as you get older? Will you lose touch? And I think these guys are as funny as they've ever been. And I also believe it is part of why they're so sharp and they're around so long. Yeah. I think there's something about laughing every day and engaging with and being around people that make you laugh that's some secret to longevity that no one's cracked yet.
I think, I guess it's the ones who were humorless died younger, as we can say that now, right?
Yes.
So
anyone who died young had no sense of humor.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, I'm Conan O'Brien with a terrible theory that's completely unproven. But James Dean, I didn't see a lot of people laughing.
By the way, genuinely not that funny.
Exactly. I keep watching Giant and I'm not laughing.
Although, have you seen the video of him and Paul Newman having a screen test?
Oh, was this part of the Paul Newman, Joanne Woodward documentary?
I don't know. I didn't see that, but it's worth. If again, there's a web. I'm not gonna. You guys know the website to go to.
Most of the things you're plugging, you're only tangentially involved with.
But it is. You see the chemistry between Paul Newman and James Dean, where you're like, they are gonna straight up fuck on camera right now. It's crazy. Watch it anyway.
Oh yeah.
At any time of day, alone probably.
Yeah.
So my point being that Mel Brooks is a legend.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that he stays sharp. When you see him, he's. I do think that continuing to have a sense of humor, finding people, and I think that in the case of Mel and Carl, they were friends. You know, like they were friends for 70 years and got together 3 nights a week and watched movies and being able and that's that is the dream. Like your dearest, most favorite people and friends and comedy in the world that you continue to get together and you continue to make each other laugh. And for me, being able to just have a moment, and he is still so funny. Like it was over Zoom, but we did a read through of a bunch of sketches with the network and a bunch of people, and Mel was there, and he goes, I liked the songs and I liked some of the reads. I was like, he's still just funny and negging every call, every time, and I just think he had an incredible palpable energy. I mean, it's also those guys, all those people that you named, I think are all World War II vets.
They are, yeah.
Which is crazy because you were in Vietnam, but you didn't. Did you serve?
I went to a hotel in Vietnam.
Okay.
I think now 2006.
Okay.
It was a layover.
Okay.
I was on my way to Aspen.
Okay.
It's a weird way to get to Aspen
But it was for the festival.
Yeah, and so I was wearing all ski stuff, really expensive, douchey ski stuff, and I just I stepped off the plane and checked into a hotel, and then got right out again. But I thought that gave me the right to say, I was in Nam.
I was in there. You don't know me.
But they all went through real stuff, and then also have seen. But Mel is also an example, as you were saying, of like when you go back and watch History of the World Part 1. He's sort of very much. It felt, to do a show about history right now is a tricky thing. A sketch show, comedically, of being like, how are we going to do this? But you realize on some level, Mel's style was always poking fun at the powerful and the rich and as like stupid and greedy. But he's never been very political.
Right.
So like it was actually not a. It was actually a very good template to sort of like, how do we do all this right now, where you're like sort of, exposing like the real history, but also sort of never taking itself too seriously.
Yeah.
And Mel, when you go back and watch Mel's stuff, he's doing that so well.
I think it's important to remember, I got to interview in a long format Mel Brooks once, and he was telling me this story of he fought in World War II, and he was like on sentry duty, and he could hear the Germans across the river, and they were shouting insults at each other back and forth. And I'm talking, and you're thinking about, well, this is a famous Jewish American comedian, one of the greats of all time, who was there. He was. The Nazis were on the other side of the river, and he was in uniform. And you think about Norman Lear flying bomber missions. I mean, these guys were part of the most epic struggle against evil in the 20th century, and then also made some of the greatest comedy. It's I don't know. It's I can't get over it. But and it makes me ashamed of myself.
Face off against Mel Brooks in an insult war.
Yeah,
be like the V2 rocket. They
exactly.
don't even know what they're up against.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't. I think it's time you and I did something brave to defend our country.
Let's go to the Rhine River.
Let's go now.
Let's go now,
and we'll take one of those boats that floats slowly along the Rhine and serves delicious cheeses and wine. And say, Mel Brooks did it, and so I did it with Kroll.
Yeah.
Kroll and I, we went...
Well, I could be your enemy. I could be on one side of the river, and you could be on the other.
You could be having dry whites, and I could be having richer reds. Yeah. That's where we disagree.
You assholes in Lorraine, I'm over here in Alsace. Is that how they pronounce it? Did I pronounce it perfectly in the German French?
I think it's fine.
It's done. It's fine. It's
We're
done.
We're going to get some calls now.
Hello.
I love to say we get calls.
Yeah.
Why can't we just pretend we get calls?
We don't
can't
even have a phone.
Well, can't you just
I know.
put in phone sound effects in the background sometimes?
Okay,
We're getting the calls are lighting up.
Yeah.
I'll do it right now.
Yeah. There you go. Just add calls to it, whatever you're going to do.
Hello, this is Hans from Alsace. I wanted to talk about first time, long time. I wanted to talk about.
Well, Hans, are you enjoying the show so far?
So far, it's okay. It's not my favorite episode. I listen to your podcast live every day. And you had Nick Kroll on today talking about Alsace. And
Did Nick Kroll pronounce it correctly?
yes, he did, but the Rhine River's not even close to Alsace or Lorraine. Just wanted to mark that out for you so you know. Anyway.
Don't you love people that love to lord their knowledge? I live here and know.
No, it's not there.
Bob Newhart told me once in the original Bob Newhart show, it opens with him coming home from work. He leaves the office and he walks through the streets of Chicago, and then he gets on an elevated train, and then you see him get off the train, and then you see him walk, and he goes to the apartment and comes in, and Suzanne Plachette's there, and that's the opening of the show. And he said for years, people would come up to him who were from Chicago, and like, you know something, I gotta tell you something there, Bob. You get on the L, over by the Loop. It doesn't take you from there over. You're like, that it didn't actually work out. And I remember doing that I was at SNL as a writer, and we watched an episode of Spencer for Hire was just on TV, and the only reason I turned it on was someone told me our high school is in it, and they shot an episode where Robert Urich, is running through the high school to try and find a bomb, and I'm there watching it with the other writers, and I went, oh. You can't get from A wing to the cafeteria unless you take the north stairs. But they cut, and everyone looked over at me, and suddenly I realized that I was a horrible, horrible man and deserved to die. And
then you did that day.
I died that day, very young, proving once again I'm not funny. I just want to walk you through your career, which at such a young age, you've had such a range of experiences and so much success. But, I know that you had worked as a child, but then About a Boy is when it's 2002, I want to say.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
And you're working with Hugh Grant, who, by the way, has had this. I mean, he started out as one type of performer in romantic comedies, and now he's found this whole other sweet spot that I find extremely admirable. He is so good.
His recent one's coming out soon, right? Heretic, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer. It looks great. It looks amazing.
I maintain, and I think many people will agree with me, Paddington 2, and it sounds like I'm making a joke.
So good.
Paddington 2 might be a perfect movie.
Yeah.
And I think it has a score on Rotten Tomatoes of just absolute perfection. Yeah. I've watched Paddington 2 several times looking for a flaw. There isn't one, but Hugh Grant is so delightfully, insanely over the he's having such a good time.
It's brilliant. He is truly brilliant.
But you worked with him, you were young, 10, 11, 12, something like that. You're working with Hugh Grant, and he taught you by observing him. You learned from him.
I still think the other day I was thinking about, and I think a lot of my sense of humor probably stems down a little bit from him. Mm-hmm. And also just, how he was on set. He was so dedicated to the work and professional and kind and good with everyone, and just really, really deeply cared about doing a good job himself and making the film good. And I think I couldn't have had a better experience at that sort of age in terms of just learning and watching people and being like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to be done.
That you'd have to put in the work.
Yeah.
To get to the fun part, you need to prepare, you need to be on it.
Yeah, and also it's that thing of you end up on set sometimes where people won't come out of trailers and this and that, and there's just extra kind of ego business going on, and there wasn't any of that. So I think good to have, good behavior around it, that sort of, it's...
Well, you lost me with this whole line of reasoning. I had a trailer put upstairs in this office just so I could not come out of it. But half the time, no one wants me to come out of it.
It's a win-win.
Yeah. I wasn't familiar with this show you did when you were an adolescent, Skins. I don't really know that show, but it became huge in the UK.
Yeah.
And that was a little difficult for you to handle because you're an adolescent and suddenly it's this.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were prepared for how well that show would do. And I stand by this. Somebody was asking me about that show the other day, and I was saying I think the reason that it did kind of capture the moment so well is because it wasn't expected to be what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like more commonly now when shows kind of showing the teen way of life and whatever, and they're going to show everything and it's going to be hardcore and all this sort of stuff, there's kind of this idea of what it's going to be and how it's going to fit into the zeitgeist early. Whereas that was kind of like, we're just going to make this show. We're all kind of messing around.
Yeah.
It's a good bunch of people, very talented bunch and great writing, but it's kind of like nothing's expected of it.
Yes.
And then it did kind of blow up in a way that I feel like it still kind of gets watched by some people now. I've never actually seen it.
But you were young to be experiencing that kind of attention.
I was 16 or 17, and I guess it was around then that maybe camera phones and stuff were starting to kind of come out as well. And it was a weird transition because up until then, I'd basically most of the time just been able to live my life very normally, and I still can mostly day to day. It's being recognized as kind of a weird. It goes in weird waves. I don't know if you find this, but it's like, if you've had something out recently or you've been on people's screens, then maybe they recognize you. Otherwise, people just look at me like maybe we went to school together. But at that period, because that show was very popular, like with my age group and everything as well, it felt like I was under scrutiny a lot.
Yeah. So if you're going out, you just want to have a drink, hang out with friends.
Yeah.
You have to accept that someone might be recording you.
Yeah, it was a weird transition. I didn't particularly enjoy that. At all.
I think it's healthy not to enjoy that.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people who'd be 15, 16, 17 and think, boy, if I could be famous right now and get that kind of attention at an age when, you want attention, wouldn't that be amazing? And so often it's not.
Yeah. I don't know. What kind of attention do people want?
Well, let me explain my problem.
Come to the master. Here we go.
You're talking about getting recognized. I wear a hat that says I am Conan O'Brien wherever I go. Stop me and ask for a selfie. I think it's all about, you've had this interesting education where you were getting probably attention and working as a child, then you're a teenager, but then you've handled it all really well. I was thinking of your performance in Mad Max as, first of all, when I first saw that, I didn't even realize it was you.
Yeah. See, no one will recognize me from that.
Yeah, because you play Nux.
Yeah.
And Nux is this terrific character. You lost so much weight for that. And the backstory, first of all, I love that movie.
Yeah,
and
we did I'm proud of that one.
Parody of it when we were at Comic-Con once, where I play the Doof Warrior, who's the guy that we actually recreated. We shot it film style. We recreated that whole giant truck.
Yeah.
Do you remember this, Sona?
Yeah, I do.
I'm hanging off the front with an electric guitar and the white face and wearing the red onesie and shooting fire.
Do you still have the red onesie?
I'm wearing it now. But I'm wearing it
for everyone watching.
The red onesie's his new nickname.
Yeah. And I'm wearing it for medical reasons. But I'm shooting they gave me a guitar that shoots
real
fire.
Real fire.
And then we were shooting it out in the desert, but after the first take they said, when you get near a telephone pole, turn off the fire. And I was like, what? And they were like, because otherwise you'll set the telephone poles off here in the desert outside Los Angeles on fire. And I went, no one thought, like, this is up to me. If I want to, I can take out the power grid with my electric guitar. But anyway, we did a whole parody of that, which was really fun to do. But I absolutely adore that film. And your character, talk about being able to lose yourself in a character. You lost a ton of weight to play Nux.
Yeah.
You're in this, because you're in this, everyone who's survived that apocalypse is sickly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nux is meant to be kind of essentially on his deathbed the day that you meet him at the start of the film. Mm-hmm. So that was something George asked me to do, was to lose some weight. And I did get a strange body dysmorphia through that, where I didn't feel I was that skinny, and then looked back at photos and I was like, oh, you were very skinny. I didn't realize quite how far I'd gone with it.
And what was the? I mean, everyone has their own technique, but is that a kind of thing where literally you're working with a doctor and they're saying, okay, you can have a Tic Tac today, and then a little soup before bed?
It wasn't that. It was just not eating as much and just running tons and jumping rope and like, yeah, just not eating that much.
I wish there was a secret. Oh, I didn't eat as much. Fuck.
I think there is now, right?
yeah.
The old
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get an Ozempic colonic.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know. Maybe it'll go even faster if I go the other.
what that means.
Go the other way.
What?
Not a
I'm just gonna
suppository,
say
but a colonic.
a colonic.
Oh.
I want that for other reasons.
They don't go together. Yeah. But the red onesie is going to be helpful throughout this.
Thank God I have that onesie on. When did you
One of
become?
my mates had to give himself a colonic. Like, that's when you shoot the stuff up to loosen everything.
Yes.
He had to do that in a hospital and then like lost control. And they said you could do it himself. And he was like, okay, I'll do it. But then was like on the floor of the bathroom in the hospital, like cramping with
Oh my
feces
God!
everywhere.
Why did they say do it yourself?
Oh my
I
God.
don't
First
know.
first of all,
It
this
didn't
is
make
not.
it
This
that-
story
I-
is much
I can't
better if
remember
you
why.
identify your friend.
I can't. They're very famous.
Oh, it's got to be Hugh Grant.
It's Hugh Grant.
It's got to be.
Hugh Grant cramping, shitting all over the floor. You heard it here, folks. Let's get that out there.
It's not cute. Don't worry.
Too late. I'm editing
been.
your "it's not" out, and we're replacing it with an AI. Yes, it is.
Definitely him.
Oh, we got
Hey,
the sound
thank
bite.
you. Now we're good.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Holt, and I feel truly happy about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
That's very sweet.
I do. You know what? Are we started? Is this
Yes, this is it. Yeah, doesn't get better than this right now.
it? There we go. What a
It's
show.
ended.
Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
This is it. Yeah.
I was thinking about friendship on the drive here.
Were you really?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about how LA is quite a lonely town in many ways. Anyway, we don't have to get into it too
Well, no,
deep,
we
too
should
fast.
because you live in LA now.
Yeah, well, we're technically down in Long Beach, yeah. So
Yeah.
the
Oh.
LBC.
I've lived
Whichever
in Long
one in
Beach
LA.
for 20 years.
Oh, whereabouts?
Belmont Shore.
You live so close to me.
Really?
I'm on Naples.
Oh my God. I lived in Naples for a little bit
Oh
too.
my gosh. Do you want to be friends?
Yes. I was
Wait a
going to
minute.
ask you that.
Hello, this
You're
defeat-
relieved. You're dismissed.
I'm gonna go have a
You
coffee.
still live on Belmont? What are your
No,
spots?
I live in
Oh.
Pasadena now, but I
Oh,
used
you
to.
went the wrong way. Okay.
know.
Friendship.
It's
friendship
over.
canceled.
Man, it was so
Friendship
close.
Yes,
canceled.
he wanted to get farther away from the water and closer to the sun, and just be miserable.
I do like Pasadena. Well, there's a Huntington Library and Gardens.
Yeah,
It's
you wanna
very
be
nice.
friends?
Well, we don't go there anymore because it's too far now. So.
I understand.
if
I think
if I
I've
ever end
lost
up there, though,
control
I'll
of
think
this
of you.
interview completely.
Basically, I'm here looking for friends.
Well,
do you live, Conan?
you'd be an amazingly cool friend to have.
Yeah.
I have to say, I am a massive fan of yours,
Thanks.
and you seem like a very normal, healthy person. And I'm sure you don't love compliments ladled on you.
No,
I
I
always
do.
liked your work. Oh, you do? Okay.
That's what I came
Well,
here
then you're
for.
like, well, first time I saw you was in About a Boy, which is just such a great film. And you were so good in that movie with Hugh Grant, and it holds up. I think I've watched it many times since then. It's one of those movies, whenever it's on, I love you in it. I love the story. I love Hugh Grant. It's just so well done. I love the soundtrack. And then I saw you kill it in many roles. And then you started doing The Great with Elle Fanning.
Yeah.
And my eyeballs fell out of my head because I thought, Nicholas Holt is one of the funniest actors alive. You are so good
Oh,
in
thank
that
you.
role.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, you were walking this insane line in that role, Peter the Third, right?
Yeah, Peter
You're
the
walking
Third,
this insane line of a terrible murderer who who is constantly on the verge of killing his wife, and by today's standards just an inhuman barbarian, and incredibly likable.
Yeah.
And I thought, what kind of judo move is that? But I loved your character in that. I thought you were absolutely hilarious in that,
Thanks.
in that role.
It was a dream of a role. Because Tony McNamara's writing is so smart.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing. I kind of discovered that character along the way as everyone else did. Because, so we'd shot, he wrote The Favourite as well.
Yep.
That I was in. And then after that, he said, oh, I've got this other script. And it was at that point a feature script for The Great. And I'd worked with Elle before. He said he was going to ask Elle to play Catherine, and she's wonderful, as you know.
Yep.
And I knew I had a fantastic time working with her previously, so I was excited about all the components. And then he turned it into a show. But when we started shooting, we only had like a couple of episodes, 2 or 3 episodes. So then it was kind of as we went, we would get more of the episodes as we shot. So it was kind of like, I'd read it and I'd be like, oh, this is terrible. Very funny, but terrible. Horrible character.
Right.
Who's just punched his wife and all these things. But then you'd start to eke out all the things that made him human and tick, and the way he is, and how ridiculous he is in very humorous ways. So it was definitely all down to him, his writing.
Well, okay. Yes. Great writing. But I thought you and Elle together, one of my favorite couples I've seen on TV in memory. And
We had the best time.
you could tell you guys have such a great chemistry, but also Huzzah became, I think
Huzzah.
you put Huzzah on the map.
It's back.
It's Huzzah is back. Huzzah. And also just that self-assurance, constantly obsessed with your cock and sex. And I'm just watching this and thinking,
Is this the segue?
I know.
Is this in your journal again?
yes.
Yeah.
No, but just like,
Cock was so aggressive.
yes.
It's a very aggressive word.
It's a very aggressive word, cock.
Strong sounds.
Yeah.
It is.
But also just this kind of musing about sex and what he's going to do next, and just like it was just
He turned
hilarious.
British.
And
It's
and
hilarious.
A real foodie.
Yeah, a real foodie.
I think one of the redeeming things about him is his foodie nature, but also he's very open. It's exactly what you see is what you get.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that people can appreciate about him. It's like it's not very common that you see someone who tells you exactly what they're thinking.
Yes.
When they're thinking it.
And he's the kind of person who might say, I may have to murder you now, but would say it out loud.
Yeah,
and then
no,
go,
you-
well, probably shouldn't have said that out loud. That's the kind of, but I think that show, I mean, first of all, the acting across the board, who plays such terrific acting, but the Minister of War, the General.
Oh, Douglas Hodge.
Oh my God.
Elementov, yeah. And
Yes.
that is truly incredible, his performance, because, the
He's-
characters aren't
yeah.
described. There's not like any of the bellowing and breathing and all those things that Douglas added. And I remember being in scenes with him when we first started shooting, you'd hear him constantly like swallowing his own burps and stuff. And none of that was in the script. It was just something that he brought to the character.
Yeah.
And was so hilarious that there were times that we had to like cut and stop scenes because the rest of us would be giggling so much at just how he breathed.
He's constantly,
which is
but again, he was a great character because he's this Russian general who's
drunk of
drunk
useless,
all the time, but
but very
also
hot.
but also has common sense. I mean, he is the voice of reason often in a scene, but also not.
Yeah.
I don't know, that series was so delightfully surprising, and I watched that, and then I knew that I had a Nicholas Hoult obsession when, I don't know if you guys remember, but Elle Fanning came on the podcast and we were talking about the show, and I kept saying, "Tell me more about Nicholas Hoult." And she would indulge me, and she was like, "Well, what? You should talk to Nicholas." And I'm like, "Yes, I should."
You tried to get his number from her.
I did, and she gave it to me, and then it was like a suspiciously wrong. It was a 555.
That's the
1,
that's
2,
who's
3,
been
4.
calling and breathing down the line. Now I recognize the breaths.
You thought it was Douglas Hodge.
You're working with this cast. You're making it's multicam, so you're making mid-century modern, and it's on Hulu. And I want to talk about when you're in that process. Am I correct? Linda Lavin was part of this.
Yes.
And she has since passed.
Yes, she has, sadly.
I don't know. I'm trying to I remember, she was huge when I was, the show Alice is how I
Sure.
got to know Linda
Sure.
Lavin.
That's-
But,
yeah,
and that was her
famously,
iconic TV role, but wonderful actress.
Oh, yes.
How much did you work with her?
Well, in the theater,
Yeah.
she's a beloved
Yes.
figure, Tony Award-winning actress. Famously, I remember seeing her in Neil Simon's play Broadway Bound. She played his mother, and it's one of the greatest stage performances I've ever seen. and we knew each other just in passing. You know, I was just a fan, and we would see each other occasionally, and we'd always say, "I hope we get to work together someday." So when this happened, it was this whole thing has been an incredibly happy experience, a rare thing. And it's all the people who, you know, Jimmy Burrows, is the director.
Sure.
I've always, again, one
Jimmy
of these
Burrows, one of these guys that, I mean, Cheers.
Going back to the Mary Tyler Moore show.
Yes.
but
Friends.
Taxi. Everything. He's the dean of the multicam. So, you know, and it's created by Max Muchnick and David Cohen, who created Will and Grace.
Yep.
And they've put together this tremendous writer's room, and with Jimmy there and what they're doing. And then just the casting is everything. And so Linda was... I don't know. That's another podcast, maybe. But it was tragic and shocking and then emotional. And then they took a week. They pushed a week so that they could write an episode that deals with the death of her character, and also where the show is going to go going forward. And they did a beautiful job, and it was overwhelmingly emotional. But she was, you would not believe she was 87 years old. I mean, she was just, and then you put her in front of an audience, and you know, she was, as Jimmy would say, she was, with a joke, she was like a heat-seeking missile. She was just brilliant.
There is that thing, I always heard it about George Burns, that when he was, you know, famously almost made it to 100, but when he was like 96, they said you could wake him up. He could be sound asleep on an airplane, and you could wake him up, and he could do 10 minutes. Like, because that thing doesn't go away. You know, I mean, I know that God knows what'll happen to me, but if I'm in a coma and any of my writers come by or people come by and poke me, I will start doing a bit, and then they'll kill me. Then they'll suffer. But what is? I mean, I think go away.
No, she was just, I mean, in general, she was a great actress. I mean, she could do drama or comedy, but she was so brilliant at this sort of thing. And it's just been a very happy family. Matt Bomer and an actor named Nathan Lee Graham, who are sensational. And Matt, who I feel like he's going to be the revelation for a lot of people, because, you know, he's a big, handsome glute, but also a wonderful, serious actor. But he's riotously funny. And it was an ordeal to get through, because, and then on top, we did this very emotional episode, and we felt like we honored her, and we got through it. And then I started to get vertigo. And I'd had it since we've done therapy. I thought we'd now get to the more medical side of my life.
I can do that. I can handle that as well.
Oh, good. Really?
I think it's a zinc deficiency.
Isn't it always? So I had this about a year ago, what's called positional vertigo. And then there's a thing called the Epley maneuver, which, you know, sounds like a bad off-Broadway play. The Epley maneuver, playing at the Village Gate. Anyway, and it usually goes away after a couple of days and some Dramamine. So this time, it really hit me. And I went to an ENT. They gave me a cortisone shot, but I'm holding on to walls. And you really, my equilibrium really thrown. And so I Google vertigo, and the first thing that comes up is the Dizzy and Vertigo Institute of Los Angeles in Beverly Hills. And the pictures look nice, and they look professional.
Never go by the picture.
And I'm like desperate. So I go back. So I make an appointment, and I go back to the ENT the next day. Dr. Schnittman. And Dr. Schnittman says it's not positional vertigo. And I said, well, I'm going to the Dizzy Institute right after
This isn't real.
which sounds like
Schnittman says don't go to the Dizzy Institute.
like it should be run by Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, exactly right.
And so he says, that's where I was going to send you. And I said, great. And so I go, and it's a real serious place, and and they were incredible, and they put me through a series of tests, like a NASA astronaut in a chair. You go upside down, all these tests, eye and ear coordination, and they said what you have is called labyrinthitis, which is a virus you get in the inner ear, and I got it in the left inner ear, which was causing severe vertigo and nausea. Yeah. And so they the ENT put me on prednisone, and then I had to do a series of exercises, and what's called vestibular therapy. And we had to cancel a week so I could get over this. And now we did the taping we were supposed to do last night.
So how are you feeling now?
A little dizzy. No, I feel...
I picture when you go to the Dizzy Institute, all the furniture is made of rubber. Like anywhere you fall, you're boing, you're fine.
I told this to Tina. I ran into Tina Fey. And I told her about the Dizzy Institute. She said, "You don't want to go to that parking garage. It's a very dangerous
crash, smash."
Anyway, it's thankfully I feel great, and it's I made a recovery, but it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
So we have one more show to do, and then I have a dicey history with the multicam.
Most people do.
The first one was not my fault. It was Mickey Rooney's series called One of the Boys. Dana Carvey and I did. I'm sure you've discussed this with him.
And it comes up occasionally.
Sure. Yeah. I was the biggest star in the world.
1940.
Yeah. Bang, zoom. I heard it all. But that was 13 and out. And then I did an episode of Frasier, and I was nominated for an Emmy. And they said, if you ever want to do this, we'd love to develop something for you. I said, okay. They had won the Emmy 5 years in a row. We did. It was not the right fit. 13 and out. Then I did a show with a writer for CBS, Jeff Richman, an old friend, wonderful writer from Modern Family. He wrote a show, did not work out, and no, you didn't really get much support from Les Moonves,
right?
Salt of the Earth, Les Moonves. So, I was like, it's just never going to work out for me. That's fine, I tried. It's a miracle when friends or those things come together that way. And this time I have to say, but these are the best of the best.
Yep.
Jimmy Burrows is standing there with an eye for comedy that's, it's incredible in how they're putting this all together, and the writers and the thing. And you're like, I can't believe this. And it feels like, and I love these people, and that's really important at this point in my life. That we're, as Marty says, it's about the hang. Oh, they're an example on, like, when I did Only Murders in the Building. They set the tone. Yeah. Like, you feel good about going to work and having fun doing good work.
Those are all people that the minute it starts to get unpleasant, they're all going to walk. And you're in that category too. There's no reason at this point for unpleasantness. I mean, that's why I adore doing this. It's not a volume business. We're not cranking out. I'm not talking to 3 people a night, 5 nights a week, 40 nights a year. This is people that I love, that I really want to talk to and have a real conversation with and get to know a little better. And if this started to turn into, oh God, I don't want to. No, you kind of have to, because they're moving. Okay, well, they're being real difficult. All right, no, there's no reason anymore.
Yeah. And you get, and in this format, you're getting something else.
Yes,
people are more
this
relaxed.
Is nice.
This is a real much more real conversation than when you're playing to an audience.
Yes. I want to wrap this up because I have to, and we have gone much longer than we normally do, which is always an indication that I'm having the time of my life. And I have one wish for you, is that you do. When I brought up a little while ago in the interview, are you able to own sort of what you've achieved? You said, well, I've been very lucky, and and I say, yes, that's all true, and that's the great perspective to have. But you're also a crazily talented person who has integrity, and you're a very sensitive person, and you have made this happen. And I just want to leave that little nugget with you and hope that you can hang on to it and then go hate yourself 5 minutes from now.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, will you be my friend?
No.
Oh.
No. Just no. I don't see it. I really don't see an upside. I don't see an upside,
I know. I thought I was pushing it, but
No.
I was just going by the title of the podcast.
No, it's a fucking gimmick. God bless you, and thank you.
Bless you. Thank you so much.
You have amassed this really cool body of work. You're a terrific storyteller, and you make these one-man shows that are beautifully constructed.
Oh, thanks.
And you are not so. I want to take a second here and acknowledge what you've done, which is you are not. I have so much respect for stand-up, but what you do, it feels like you've carved out really something quite unique for yourself, and I think that's my highest compliment to musicians and comedians, is when I say, no, this person found something. They worked hard in the dark alone. They figured it out, and they came out with something that's truly them. And I think you've done that. Like people, you have this huge following, which is people want to hear Mike Birbiglia tell stories that are very personal to him.
No, I appreciate it. I'm lucky. I just, I'm doing a new tour called Please Stop the Ride.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a whole new hour. And it seems like people still want to see the next show. It's weird. Every time, I always talk about this with my friend Jack Antonoff, who's from Bleachers, is a great musician. And we've been friends for like 20 years. We're both touring acts. And like, when you put a tour on sale, you find out if anyone still cares.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like, and so it's exciting that I've made these, like you're saying, like I made these things that, and it's kind of by accident that I made it specific. It's really just because I'm like, I'm really interested in plays, and I'm really interested in movies and drama. And then also I'm really interested in stand-up. And then along the way, I started working with a theater director, Seth Barish, and I started working with theater producers, and at a certain point, it just became a thing. Like, it wasn't an overnight thing. And at a certain point, like probably my biggest break was like in 2008, Nathan Lane agreed to present my show off Broadway, Sleepwalk with Me, which is the first one of these. And that was helpful because it like sort of made people show up and think it's a piece of theater as opposed to just writing it off as stand-up.
To have
everyone belittles.
To have Nathan Lane's
it's true though.
No, but like to have Nathan Lane's imprint. I mean, he is
he's a gold standard.
He's a gold standard, and so for Nathan Lane to say, you all need to pay attention to Mike Birbiglia. I mean, to give yourself credit, you've also had, you've had a fascinating life. You've had a very interesting life. You've had a lot of health issues, and you've been really honest about them, and they're quite dramatic. And these stories you tell are riveting. I mean, they're really like, and to the point where, I mean, I remember like the highest compliment I can pay to someone, this sounds terrible, but Los Angeles is a very specific place, and theater in LA, to get to theater in LA, you need to, it's not like New York, where you say, I want to go check out that show. I'm going to walk 15 blocks this way and go see the show. I heard that you were doing your show, and Greg Daniels and I were talking about it, and we decided, let's go down and see Mike Birbiglia do his show. So we we drove to downtown Los Angeles to see your show. And I remember thinking, as I'm driving into downtown LA, this is commitment. Because it's like a 40-minute
It's far.
odyssey, and you feel like it's like Lord of the Rings. Like there's different tests along the way. And we lost the ring for a while, but we got it back, and we crossed the river, and we and then finally we ended up at this wonderful theater, and we saw you, and you were worth it, definitely worth the trip.
Oh, thanks. It's weird how you end up where you are, and then also like you were talking about the Nathan Lane thing. It's a little bit like with Lorne Michaels with you, with Late Night, because like I remember when that happened in the '90s when they were like, and the new host is a writer who you do not know.
Who's replacing? Also, to put it in context, I did this bit once on Charles Grodin's show, but he was like, "No, what was it like when you replaced Letterman?" And I was like, "What was it like?" I said, "Imagine."
I can't even imagine.
I said, "Imagine that," because Letterman, 1993, and this is back when there were very few comedy gods. That it's a very different landscape now, but he's the biggest icon in comedy, and Carson's retired, and so it's like it's Letterman in my world. And then imagine them saying in baseball, Joe DiMaggio is now retiring today, ladies and gentlemen. He is leaving the field forever. Goodbye, Joe DiMaggio, greatest legend in Yankee history. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes his replacement, 19-year-old Chip Whitley. And like a bat boy comes running out. It's like, "Hi, everybody. I'm going to disappoint you for a while. But don't worry. If you stick with me. After about 4 or 5 years, you'll grow to love me. And that's what it felt like. And that's exactly what it was. It was fucking crazy.
Yay, boo,
It's lots of fun to do if you like it, holler yay, and if you don't. But But it was absolute madness. But it's so funny that you remember that, but people that are into our stuff now, or like the podcast, whatever, and people in their 20s, they have no idea.
Yeah.
They just think, "Oh, you're like Mickey Mouse. You were just always around." I'm like, no. There was a time when it was really rough.
I feel like the thing that's happened, this show's called The Old Man in the Pool, and by the time people, I'll say it's on Netflix now.
Yep.
It's called The Old Man in the Pool
Because it's out right now. It's out right now.
And I had a fear about it, which was, I was like, the vision was I want to do a show that's 90 minutes of jokes and stories about death, because I feel like if we face the thing that we're most scared of, in my case, death, that there's a catharsis for that for everybody potentially. And I did have a fear of like, oh, I'm going to go out with this, and then some people are going to be, if they're going through sorrow or dealing with deaths of people close to them, are going to have a bad effect. And it was the opposite. Like literally the people who would come up to me, like when I was doing it in LA, like I remember like this woman came up to me after the show and she was like, "I recently lost some people in my life, and I lost my dad and a bunch of people. And tonight when I was in the audience, like I felt like I was laughing with my dad." And it was like, and genuinely, like I feel like that's the thing about being in my 40s that I did not expect. First of all, I didn't expect to be doing comedy in my 40s, or somehow like in my 20s and 30s even, didn't anticipate that it would continue somehow. But I feel like the thing that I've started to realize is like, oh, it really is about them. It's about the audience. It's about their experience. And if you can get people to that point, that's why I'm excited that it's on Netflix now, because it's like, oh, well, maybe it'll have that effect with the hundreds of millions of people who are able to get to Netflix. That's been my discovery.
But the thing is, like it's funny because and this is a compliment again, hard to categorize you, because you are very funny and you are a comedian and you are doing stand-up comedy, but it's also not stand-up comedy because you're telling stories. And we've talked about this somewhat. I know you, and you mentioned your mom. I know your mom was a major influence on you.
Yeah.
Because like my parents. She comes from this Irish storytelling tradition, and I just knew that I grew up in a similar kind of situation where telling stories and being able to make something that happened to you funny was sort of just a way of life. It's how you grew up. It wasn't even thought of as a possible profession, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, I grew up outside of Worcester.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even grow up outside of Boston. Like, people don't even understand when I explain where I live. I'm like, Central Massachusetts. They're like, why would anyone live there? In the middle.
Yep.
In the middle.
In Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, which I love. And I just went back there recently. I love it. But it's also like, no one in the town thought show business wasn't a job that anyone even had.
Right.
I mean, it was an outrageous thought. But I feel like even when I go home now, it's like, and my mom's a great storyteller, and my siblings, my two sisters, Gina and Patty, my brother Joe, they're a riot. And like, the most fun is, my wife always comments on this, is that when I'm home, it's not the dinner, the Christmas dinner that's funny. It's like the 11, 12 at night, 1 a.m. sitting around the kitchen aisle. Yeah.
Kitchen.
And just telling stories about kids you grew up with and what's going on with everybody and what's this person up to. And that's like, I'm getting choked up even saying, it's like, weirdly, that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. Well,
be
it's
with
also
people you love and just tell stories about things.
Right. But I think you've done a really good job of replicating that there's an alchemy that happens specifically around the kitchen island. Or for us, I still see it when I go home and my parents are still with us. It's so funny. Mulaney, last time I was talking to him and I mentioned that my dad is 94, and he said, I think I forget how he said it because his diction is so perfect, his word choice, but he just said, I think it's like something like unseemly or silly that a man your age still has his father. And I was like, no, but it was, I could kind of see like, oh, come on, Conan.
Yeah.
You're
That's so
ancient
funny.
and you're saying, I just found my dad? That's ridiculous. But I kind of knew what he was saying, but
I think he said, it's not dignified.
it's almost not dignified. Like, stop that.
Yeah.
Stop that, Conan. That's ridiculous. But I go back and see my folks, and it's the same house I grew up in Brookline, and there's that round table that's still there, and I'm sitting at that same table, and all that stuff comes back, which is, oh, this is where I really cut my teeth. This is where everything else has been a refinement of that. You're just refining and adjusting, but the basic concept of how it all works happens around your kitchen table. I didn't realize this, but when you did the Birdcage, that was a big boost, step up. You were doing well, very well established Broadway, but you did the Birdcage, but with Robin Williams, Mike Nichols had to talk you into it. Is that true?
No. No.
By the way, we do very bad research here. And your name is
Jason Alexander.
Jason Alexander. And you did.
And I'm wearing the wig today. No. I
thought he had to talk you into it, or that you were. No.
Okay. Forgive me if you've heard this before, but originally, Mike, the great Mike Nichols and Elaine May, had wanted to do that, an American remake of La Cage aux Folles for a very long time, and then finally gotten the rights. And it was supposed to be Steve Martin and Robin Williams. Right. And Robin was going to play the part I wound up playing. Then Steve, there was another obligation. It wasn't going to work out. And then Robin decided, I've just done Drag and Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm sorry, I've been ignoring you people.
No, they're to be ignored. They are to be ignored.
I can only make one new friend at a time. So I don't know what you're doing with the rest of the afternoon, but maybe lunch, and I can deal with you and your childhoods. But so Robin decided after Mrs. Doubtfire, maybe I shouldn't play the drag part, and that the acting challenge would be playing the more subdued character. And so it opened up that role, and Mike came to see me in Laughter on the 23rd Floor, and I had met him briefly once, and it's like meeting God. And then he came backstage, which he had never done, and he said, "Dear boy, I'd like to talk to you about a movie." And I was like, "Oh, you want to go see one?"
I hear Conan's hanging out at the Angelica. He's in the lobby. Who is this Conan?
And can I call you? And he did. And then, so the next day it was, this is happening, and it's Elaine is writing the adaptation, and Robin Williams is going to play the other part. And I said, so I would be the drag queen. And he said, yes. And I said, well, that's a very good part. And he said, yes, it is. And I said, okay. And I couldn't believe it was happening. This is you can cut me off at any point.
No. I love this.
It's a long story. So we also kind of did he wouldn't refer to it as a screen test, but they wanted to see what I would look like in drag and all of that. And he made it fun, and I sang a song, and many outfits by the great Ann Roth, the costume designer. And then I was supposed to do a funny thing happen on the way to the Forum. And they were building this around me. And Scott Rudin called me, the producer of Forum, and he said, he's not going to make that movie. That's never going to happen. It's never going to work out. And he went on, and I had to, because of the scheduling, I had to turn it down. I had to say, you know what? I can't really leave these people in the lurch. They've been building, and the time frame now that you're talking about, I can't do that to them.
That's a crazy thing to say. No, Mike Nichols.
Yeah.
I will not co-star in your film.
So I said, okay, and I told them, and then I would see Mike Nichols. I was talking about this the other day. I would see him from time to time. He would once. There was a period where maybe Robin wasn't going to do the movie. This is how long this went on. And maybe, he would say, how do you feel about Billy Crystal? I'm nobody, you know what I mean? And I would say, I love Billy Crystal.
Yeah. Why are you asking me?
And then, one day he came up to me, we were at a benefit, and he said, Robert Redford. I said, is he here? He said, no. He said, Robert Redford as your husband. And I said, well, if you can work that out, all my dreams will come true. So anyway, finally, I think Robin, he was going to play the other part. And then he calls me. He was in Ireland. And he says, Nathan, and I'm in my dressing room at Laughter on the 23rd Floor. And he says, Nathan, I'm meeting people, but I think you're the person. And I said, Mr. Mike Nichols, I have no power here. Perhaps if you called Scott Rudin, something could be arranged. He said, yes.
He's like an evil serpent.
Yes. I don't mean to make him sound like that, because
no.
He was.
But I know what you mean. He had an aura, an iconic status.
Oh yeah.
And so yes, I could see him. He's not someone he's someone who can just say yes.
He called you dear boy.
Yeah, and it has a power to it.
Oh yes. And so the next day, Scott Rudin said, you really want to do this movie? I said, well, why wouldn't I want to do this movie? And he said, it means we have to postpone a year. And I said, I know. I turned it down. He said, okay. And then it wound up, of course, helping us with Forum, because by the time Forum opened, the movie had come out. And I was not just this New York actor who was, had lucked out in getting this, the lead in this musical, but it was, it's the guy from that film that's doing well.
Right.
So
it's
it
Jason
was
Alexander.
And so it one thing helped the other. And, so I'm grateful to Scott Rudin, Mike Nichols, Robin Williams. It was, all going back to, Compass and Second City and Mike and Elaine. I mean, changed the face of comedy with what they were doing at that time, and still holds up now.
Oh, fantastic! You listen to those records, and you watch. I've gone back and watched some of the bits, some of their appearances on, whether it's Jack Parr and I think there was this idea that comedy was shtick before Mike Nichols and Elaine May. It was shtick. It was, and then suddenly things, and Bob Newhart was part of this movement too.
Yeah.
Things got they got drier, but very smart.
Very smart.
And very worked out. And there was an urbane quality to it. And you thought, oh, this is, this pushed out a whole other kind of comedy.
And not like sort of political like Mort Saul. It was like just three couples adultery.
Yes,
an English couple, an American couple, and a French couple, or whatever that was. That kind of
two
stuff.
Two people on a date.
Two
things
people
that you could relate
teenagers, or the mother famously getting the call. Yes. The guy at NASA getting the call from his mother. Hi, it's your mother. Remember me?
I have a tendency to squish things down. If things are good, I tend to just squish it down.
Right.
Like, okay, well, that was a nice thing that happened, but let's just squish that down and put it over here and not think about it and stick to the work. And it's sort of kind of a self-flagellating, again, God knows where this nonsense comes from. I suspect we know. But are you able, I would want this for you. I would want you at this stage to be able to say, wow, I've done so much good work, and I am Nathan Lane, or feel some of that.
Well,
I think it might be hard for you.
Sure. It's funny you say that. I had my husband was here visiting, and we had dinner. I had a birthday recently, and we were sitting there, and I said to him, I really appreciate maybe it's age. I just appreciate. I have a lot of gratitude for what I've been able to accomplish with so much about luck and opportunity as Ina Garten says, be ready when the luck happens. But the amount of talented writers and actors and directors I've gotten to work with, and it's I'm very grateful and it's something to not only be proud of, but just not that you're resting on your laurels, but you feel like I have accomplished something. And then it's meaningful to people, and then whether it's the Lion King or the Birdcage or these that were huge things in my life, and they meant something to someone means everything.
Jumping back to, I was in New York doing the late night show when the producers happened, and it was a cultural phenomenon. That
rarely happens.
I mean, it was a lightning strike, but it was more than that. There are hits on Broadway, but something happened and everyone agreed that this is the greatest thing that's ever happened in New York City. And it was lovely to be around that. And then I remembered thinking, oh, Jesus, you and Matthew have to walk around and everybody wants a ticket. Every policeman, every guy who's there to open a manhole cover, and they're not going to buy, Nathan, that you can't get them a ticket. What do you do about that?
The sanitation workers were a big demographic for that show. But that kind of thing. I mean, there's Hamilton, and that was sort of another one.
Yep.
But I think that show was it was about, obviously, Mel Brooks,
Sure. Yeah.
That genius. And, but it was also kind of a zeitgeist hit. You had come out of a long period of dark British musicals, and there hadn't been anything that was kind of a return to old-fashioned musical comedy. Unapologetic. A sort of a Valentine, and yet satirical at the same time, and with arguably one of the greatest comic plots ever conceived.
Yes.
And so,
We need this thing to fail, which is such a great idea.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just it's the beauty of that. And I certainly was this huge fan of the film. I literally saw the film for the first time in a revival house here in L.A. and with an audience filled, screaming their heads off. And I was like, Zero Mostel, I'd never seen anyone so huge on screen, physically and emotionally, and yet truthful.
Yeah.
And gritty and just hilarious, and the combination of him and Gene Wilder. And so the notion that when all of that started percolating, I started to hear he's writing a musical. David Geffen is trying to talk him into writing this musical based on the movie. And I thought, well, it is a backstage story. It makes sense, and then somebody mentioned, they had talked to him about it, and then I was in. This was the weekend. I hate to mark it this way, but it was the weekend Princess Diana died.
Yeah.
And he wasn't my husband then, but my now husband and I were at the Ritz in Paris. We went down to the pool, and in the pool was Mel Brooks and Anne Bancroft. And my husband's favorite actress was Anne Bancroft. And he turned to me and he said, "That's Anne Bancroft." He said, "I'm too nervous. I can't swim in front of Anne Bancroft." And he went upstairs. So I said, okay. And then I went to the pool, and I had met them. This is like the benchmark. Laughter on the 23rd floor. They came.
Yeah.
They had come to see it because there was a character based on Mel in the play, about which he said, "That character based on me, it's a tissue of lies." Anyway, they were very gracious.
But I loved it.
But I loved it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we said hello, and I got in the pool, and Anne was swimming laps. She left, and he stayed in the pool with me, which I thought odd. And then he swam over to me, and he said, "I'm working on a musical based on my movie, The Producers, and I think you and Marty Short are the only two people in the world to play those parts." And I was like, wow. I said, that would be thrilling. I would be so honored. And then, time passed. He had to write it with Tom Meehan. And then, Marty had just done, brilliantly, Little Me. He won the Tony, and he had spent a lot of time in New York, didn't want to be away from the family again that long. And so someone brilliantly suggested Matthew Broderick, and I thought that's in some ways that's a better combination.
Yes.
His energy and my energy, as it turned out it was. And he was, sensational, and it was the beginnings of this journey that we took together, being in the middle of that tornado.
Yeah. And
you think, you'll never, the hype, how can you live up to the hype? And then, it was the great thing, as you said, all these people, it's Barbara Walters and Kofi Annan are here after the show, and you go, really? It's Bishop Desmond Tutu. Loved it. He's coming up the stairs. So you go, wow.
Mrs. O'Brien is here.
Alan Greenspan.
Yeah.
And, it was like people like that. You couldn't believe it. But the people I loved would be like Harvey Korman.
Sure.
Coming back and saying, when you did that little piece of physical comedy, and you go, these are people who understand what it is we're doing
also,
in a way.
These are people that you watched when you were a kid.
Sure.
To me, that was nothing will ever be more magical than when I get to meet the people that I saw. And sadly, there aren't many left, but I saw them on TV, and they made me laugh when I was 8, 9, 10, 12, 15. And if they noticed me in any way and saw what I was doing and liked it, I think, okay, I can die now.
Oh, sure.
It's not going to get better than this.
Tim Conway.
Yes, exactly.
I met him. These people you idolized. Or Carol. Carol Burnett, came back and she got emotional, and she said, this reminds me of the old days of what Broadway was like, and it's like Mel is throwing this huge party, and you and Matthew are the hosts, and it's, it just was, it was that especially in the beginning, that show, the joy of it and the anarchy of it, like anything could happen, because it had that that tone to it, but it's that's kind of a once in a lifetime thing.
No, it's not, because I've got a new idea.
The sequel?
Spartacus.
Oh, Spartacus.
The musical.
Spartacus the musical.
And I think you're perfect. Not as Spartacus.
No, I'm his lawyer. You know what? You all can't be called Spartacus.
There's a legal issue. One of the things I always say is a hallmark of a great career is that depending on who you run into in any age group, they're excited about a different thing. And my co-host today, sitting with me, David Hopping, who's here accidentally because Sona couldn't be here.
Yes.
He lost his mind when he found out that he was going to be in a room with you because of The Lion King. And
we were walking in. Blay was like, "Do you mind sitting in today?" And I was like, "With Disney royalty, of course I want to sit in here."
Yeah, we just did this thing at the Hollywood Bowl. It's gonna. I think it's airing soon. It was a 30th anniversary. I can't believe that concert of Jennifer Hudson and and a lot of people from the original cast and the new people and people from the Broadway show. It was quite the
that's so cool
extravaganza. But it was fun to be reunited with Ernie Sabella, who played Pumbaa, and he's an old friend. And
I had some experience with this working on The Simpsons, but people don't realize that voice work is, none of it works if it's not there in the voice. I don't care how good the animation is. I don't care how good the story is. If the actor who's doing the voice can't capture it, and I saw this on The Simpsons, these people are just brilliant who do those. It's Hank Azaria and Dan Castellaneta and this whole. If it's not there, you don't have anything. And so to be one of those iconic Disney voices is pretty amazing.
Yeah, again, sort of like as a kid seeing those Disney films, and I was always sort of fascinated by the voice actors, and so to wind up doing that, and with a movie that started as something called King of the Jungle, and nobody seemed to be excited about it. and then auditioning for hyenas, 3 hyenas, and then Ernie happened to be there. We were both doing Guys and Dolls on Broadway at the time. Yep. And he had gone in first, and he was going to leave, and he said, "I'll stay. We'll get lunch." During I guess a rehearsal, or anyhow, we and I said, "Well, would it be all right if he came in and we read together, because it's 3 hyenas, and it'll give me someone to play off of, and it might be fun." And then like 2 months later, they said, "Well, we're developing these 2 sidekick characters that are the comic relief, and a warthog and a meerkat." I said, "Great.
My dream."
My dream. And then we started. It was like a 2-year process, and they show you drawings, and we said to them, "Well, what do you? How do you want them to sound?" And they wanted him to be lower pitched and me to have a higher pitched voice. But they said, "You're doing Guys and Dolls, so they should be like Damon Runyon characters, in the Serengeti." And so Ernie was just he does a combination of no one will remember, a character actor named Wallace Beery.
Oh, yeah.
Who used to talk like this.
Yeah.
And then also a little bit of Michael Gotso from The Godfather. Who's really high up here, Your Honor. That he does. So he does a combination of that. And I'm just doing a, Brooklyn Jewish meerkat.
That old thing.
Yeah. That's how they came to life. And then Ernie this was the big joke, was that we're doing a show 8 times a week, and we go in to record very early. And, you know, we were tired. And so I'd be having coffee and we're going to start. And Ernie would just start making fart noises in the middle of, you know, he'd say, Timon. And just to make me laugh and get me going. And then they put it in the movie. Which is why Pumbaa is the first flatulent character in a Disney film.
So that's literally just screwing around.
That was screwing
around.
To
make you chuckle.
Yes. You know, we improvised. They used a little of it. I mean, apparently, I don't even remember half of it, but apparently I said, you know, what do you want me to do? Dress and drag and do the hula? For some reason. It must have been a long day. And then they made it a song.
Now, here's where the businessman in me says, you need a piece of that.
Yeah, well,
and I bet Disney is very easy to negotiate with. Hey, Disney!
Get him on the phone?
Yeah. You let me talk to them.
Okay.
I'll handle it.
All right.
I've got an in with Disney.
Yeah. He's a Disney guy?
Yeah, big Disney guy. There are many ways in which I think you and I could probably relate
as friends.
As friends, but as also, I think we're both Irish. We were raised very Catholic, I believe.
Yeah.
And I know that my self-defense mechanism that I learned very early on was to just beat up on myself and hate myself.
Sure.
If I get to me before anyone else gets to me,
exactly,
then I beat them to the punch.
Yeah.
And I always kind of sense that when I would hang with you, like, oh, I think Nathan and I there's a kinship here.
Sure.
There was alcoholism in your family. And I know this is a dark thing to bring up. It's funny because there was in my family, because there had been alcoholism throughout the family tree, my parents, I grew up in a dry house, and there was which is a thing you see in some Irish culture, which is they're so afraid of it that you can't even have a rum cake in the house. Like there was nothing. There was no,
wow.
You couldn't. So I grew up kind of being told that it will kill you if you get near it.
Yeah.
And it was the way people talk about like fentanyl now. That was how wine was treated when I was growing up. It just wasn't in the house. And then if company came over, my dad had a little like rusty key, and we would open up a little cabinet and take out what must have been the shittiest bottle of wine in the world that he had just capped the last time someone had a glass, didn't know how to store it, blew dust off of it and gave someone, basically vinegar.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there were there was a lot of ways where I feel maybe we would relate.
Yes, as Irishmen, sure.
Yeah.
The dark humor and self-deprecating Samuel Beckett vibe.
I love this quote. I was reading an interview with you, and you said that you felt like you grew up in a bad Eugene O'Neill play.
Well,
and then later you revised that, but why don't you elaborate on that?
My father was an alcoholic, became an alcoholic. Really, I was born, my mother had me when she was 40, and not long after, he started drinking really heavily and essentially drank himself to death. Mm-hmm. And my mother then sort of had a kind of breakdown after his death and her own mother's death, and she eventually was diagnosed as bipolar. Mm-hmm. Then it was called manic depression. So it was a difficult childhood in that I had to grow up fast. I sort of became the adult. My two older brothers were going to college. They were sort of on the way out, although they were very much involved in helping. But when I was going to high school, it was just my mother and myself, and she was going through these phases of depression and then manic behavior, and it was in and out of mental hospitals, and then and I never really had much of a relationship with my father. He died when I was 11. And I can remember saying to my oldest brother Dan, we were going to the funeral, and I said, I was upset, and he said, "What's?" And I said to him, I said, "I can't cry. I'm supposed to be crying now.
Yeah.
My father died, and I can't cry." And he said, that's all right. He said, you feel how you feel, and it doesn't, that's not important.
Yeah.
And
which was ahead of its time, by the way, for him to say that.
Yeah.
This is,
and he was not the healthiest guy in the world himself. Yeah. He was, well, he was a teacher, and he's certainly, and he was this is my oldest brother who got me interested in the theater and reading, and he was became sort of a father figure.
There's this thing that happens, I think it's true of a lot of performers, where they take whatever they've been given, and then they realize, my experience was I just went down a checklist when I was a kid, and mostly it was things I wasn't good at, I mean, literally, I remember doing like a mental rundown of, well, it's not going to be anything in the athletic field. I think that's quite clear.
Yes.
It's not going to be, I'm not really a ladies' man. Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. So I just keep clicking things off, and I'm not a math science wit. I just kept clicking things off, and then I remembered getting to I make my friends laugh, and thinking, okay, what is this all about? You figure out what weapon you have in your toolbox, and you must have figured out
and you find your group.
Yes, you find your
you have to find the person who laughs at your jokes and gets it. It gets what you're
still
talking
looking.
about.
I'm still looking. It's a quest, an epic quest.
Yeah.
But so you figure out probably. What is it? High school? You realize, like, I like to get up there. I like to be in front of people.
I think, honestly, I can remember as a child, like they would say, I would get up and do impressions. I would try to entertain the family. And I had like a bad club act. And then I was in a grammar school play.
Yeah.
I remember getting a laugh in that and thinking, oh, this was like blood to a vampire. And, And then in high school, I started to do plays, but I wasn't thinking. It was social. It was finding your people, but it was just. I didn't think it could be a profession.
Right. Nor did I.
And then. But as I nearing the end of high school, I realized maybe I could. My brother would also not only encouraged me, but he took me to see theater in New York, to see plays on Broadway and off Broadway, and sometimes with classes that he was teaching, he would take a class and I would go with him, and I would, that first experience of watching the curtain go up and the lights on the stage and thinking, I'd like to be a part of that. I think maybe I could do that.
Yeah.
And the excitement of just the ritual of it all, people quieting down as the curtain goes up, and there's, nothing quite like it.
After all of this, all of these crazy hits of dopamine and success, can you still access that when you're in a show? And
absolutely.
Yes. Isn't that amazing? That
absolutely.
You don't get, oh yeah, no, this is old. I'm just getting them the old number 42B,
No, I'm here making this multicam, mid-century modern, and every Tuesday night when we tape it, it's like you feel the adrenaline, and you think, you want it to go well, and there's, because of this process, which is sort of a whirlwind process, and I was saying to someone today, it's really more of a writer's process. It's they're sort of rewriting.
They rewrite throughout. This is multicam, and they rewrite throughout the week.
Yes, and and then doing takes, and they come in and they give you a whole new set of lines, and it's kind of it's sort of thrilling. It's all flying by the seat of your pants, but it's also like, is this acting, or am I just repeating what you said to me 3 seconds ago?
Right.
But somehow it all comes together. But I certainly, before we start, I feel that kind of the thing you feel before
the thing
a
you
live
felt as a kid. Yes. You get it.
Absolutely.
Doesn't go away.
No.
I am very impressed by, I feel like you were running your life almost from a very early age, right? And this kind of made you. Would you say that that's...
What made me?
the fact that you had to be so self-reliant so early, don't you think that had something to do with?
Yeah, I often worry about my, I have such good friends that they're all such terrific parents. And I worry about the kids, you know what I mean? Because having alcoholic, fucked up, suicidal, mental patient parents is really, really helpful for character development. Your eyes are wide open to the full scope of the human condition at an early age. So you have a high emotional IQ. I used to think it meant I should join the CIA or something, but later in therapy discovered it was actually just hypervigilance of constantly being, terrified and assessing situations. So it's not really that I was reading the room so well and could retain clues or random pieces of information. It's just clocking things. Because you kind of have to survive.
Yeah.
And yes, by by 6 probably, yes, at our friend, and we saw each other at Pee Wee's Memorial, at Paul Rubens Memorial.
Yeah.
And I think I did Pee Wee's Playhouse.
You did
6 to
Playhouse
8
when you were a child actor, and you did Pee Wee's Playhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess, and I love Paul.
Mm-hmm.
But he was I remember he was one of the first guys that, he took me to a steak dinner. I talked about this at the memorial. And when I got out of rehab, he was one of the first people that was like, oh, hey, let me take you out to dinner. And it meant so much to me.
Yeah.
We had steaks in the valley someplace. And I was like, wow, I'm really back. And I guess he had been through so much that he sort of, I think, Susan Terrell from Fat City, they used to say that about her, that she would also sort of collect underdogs, you know what I mean? And hold them tight. There's some people in this town that are really like that, and it's a very special thing. Because most people are just well, hot or not, want to be associated proxy or I don't. And Paul said to me, I was never surprised when I saw all those pictures of you in the gutter or whatever. You got to remember, I met your mother.
Wow.
And it was pretty wild because...
Was she a stage mom then, very much?
Less of a stage mom, more of a stage nut job. And so I think, I don't have a mind that can recall with sufficient force what it was like exactly. But, and they're not bad people, my parents, it's they're just very untreated. In other words, so many things in our modern times, whatever this year is, I'll say 2024. Discussions happen about sort of mental health and kind of whatever, epigenetic footprint, what have you. People understand that that's a working part of a dynamic of being a person, a high-functioning person, or recovery, or whatever it takes. And so I sort of, only because they're dead, now I kind of love them. You know what I mean? I think
you have distance, too. I mean, that's the ultimate distance, actually.
It was such a relief when they died. It's funny that people don't really tether the two, but it's as soon as they died, I was like, okay, now I'll do show business. So it's really only in the last decade. Up to then, I was mostly trying to avoid it because I didn't want these kind of Lindsay Lohan figured parents in my life on page 6, So I was like, I'll just stay here in the shadows until they die and kind of work a little bit here and there.
Do you really think you did that because you've worked a lot? You're starting with Orange is the New Black, and you're doing
and Russian Doll, and then now Poker Face.
Poker Face, and it's just you've had this unprecedented run of creativity. Mm-hmm. Do you really think that was made possible because your parents died?
I think it's empirical. It was a very, it's PTSD, which is my only diagnosis, in a shocking twist, because you'd think I was insane in so many other confirmed ways, which I believe I am. I just can't get a diagnosis. So I think they're wrong, but and you don't really take medication. I guess you do. Whatever. Anyway, but yeah, like for me, I experience them as boogeymen, you know what I mean? And like in my waking life and in my night terror life, because they were fucking insane, you know? And so I had to get like a restraining order from my dad or whatever. I remember being really brokenhearted.
How old were you when you got a restraining order from your dad?
I was older already, because like when I was younger, it was harder. I had tried. Like he would show up at things like... I remember Bijou Phillips in the 90s told me, like, yeah, your dad came to set today, and it was like remember that weird James Brooks movie? No, what's his name? Jim Toback? Anyway, with Mike Tyson in it. It's something black and white. Do you remember this fucking movie?
I vaguely do remember this.
From the 90s. I've never seen it. Could you Google that? Thanks so much.
He's also making you an airline reservation.
Oh, thank you so much.
Getting
it's
you an ILC.
Really, really important. And maybe it was called Black and White or something.
So James took.
Well, you struggle with that a while, and I'll stay here.
You're just giving him tasks to keep him busy.
Yeah, I just like to stay. I just like everyone to stay busy.
Where is uranium on the elemental chart?
Yeah, and so. Well, anyway, she told me, your dad showed up to set today looking for you. He just assumed, since it was shooting in New York City and Mike Tyson was in the movie, that you were in it too.
It's called Black and White.
Oh, it is. Thanks. And but there was nothing I could do about that kind of thing then. But years later, I guess I was probably 30 or something, which is weird because I'm 27 now. So
there was a singularity, and then there was a hole in space.
Yeah. And so
don't ask, don't tell. If you see something, say something.
Definitely.
Yeah, and give a hoot. Don't pollute. Well, anyway, but it's important. These are the truths. Yeah. A lot of truths are coming out here.
And like, don't Google it, okay? Whatever you do. I like the idea of this year just starting to vigorously lie about my age, and it's definitely on Google. But so anyway, then later I was doing this play. It was like a Mike Lee play, and I remember I was so excited that Mike Lee was there, and then I remember seeing my dad from across the room. Like somehow he had found, and he had done that also with. Slums of Beverly Hills. Like I remember...
Because you were a kid when you did that.
Yeah, I guess I was like 17, 18.
Yeah.
But I remember he like showed up to the premiere, but I hadn't seen him in like a decade or something. And he was
he just showed up.
Yeah, and he was like, hey, Bambo. And, my dad was a boxing promoter. From Brooklyn, which is why I never understand why people want to move there. I'm like, no, the goal is to get out of Brooklyn. But, they think it's hip.
It changed a lot.
Well, did it? You know what I mean? I'd argue it's still not in Manhattan. So on. As a baseline, geographically speaking, has it changed? Oh, I see. They got some coffee shops. Congratulations. But you still, right. So, like, I can't, the one joy in New York is you can fucking come and go as you please. There's no claustrophobia or commitment. Brooklyn is a fucking commitment. Like you need an Uber, a subway, a Metro card, a taxi, or a very long walk. So anyway, then I remember him seeing him across from the Mike Lee, and it just broke my heart. Slums of Beverly Hills. I remember Rosie Perez and Marissa Tomei kind of like consoling me in the bathroom. It was like 3 of the thickest accents you'd ever heard. And they're just like, yo, Natasha, like, you don't fucking need this shit. Don't let him fucking bring you down. Like, you don't gotta go through this. Like, just fucking do whatever you gotta do. But this is your night. It's fucking your night, and don't let that motherfucker haunt you. And so he was fucked up like that. And my mother was just nuts. But they weren't really like bad people. And anyway, now that they're dead, I feel safe to kind of really be out there. And I don't care anymore.
You know, it's funny because you had all this success early on, and then you decided, because clearly they said to you at some point, all right, so what do you want to do now? I was reading some interview with you where you said, like, I don't want to be on Dawson's Creek. I don't want to be on the WB. That's not what I want.
Yeah.
Which I think, 99% of people in that situation would have said, how do I get on that kind of reality? And that's not what you wanted.
No, and I did not want those things. Like, and I remember my mother being like, why would you turn down Buffy? It's such a big show. And like, when are you going to get a boob job so you can work? And I was like, I'm just not putting that shit in my tits, Mom. Like, I am not. She was like, it would even you out because you got that ass. I was like, well, thanks. And
oh my God.
yeah. And
oh my God.
But like, I think that
this is the talk I never had with my parents.
Yeah. This is the birds and the bees talk. No, that's what they told me.
Speaking of surreal, there's one thing I have to ask you about, which is I believe you might be the last person on earth to work with Marlon Brando, and I just have to ask you about it.
Oh, it was wild. I'll go ahead and say it. It was buck wild.
Yeah, I'm glad you had the courage to go ahead with your thought.
Yeah.
But it was on like Scary Movie 2, and I remember at the time they hired him, they gave him a crazy amount of money to do a cameo and in this movie, and then I think they ended up not using him because he was too ill. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So it was Keenen Ivory Wayans, who's the director, who I love. And so when it came in, I was definitely like, yo, hard pass, because like I don't fuck with things called Scary Movie 2.
Right.
And like that's not what I'm in this for.
Mm-hmm.
And and I love Billy. I love Billy Friedkin. I love The Exorcist.
Which they parody in that one, yeah.
I actually met him and spent time with him towards the end of his life because he wanted me to be Mae West in a biopic that I think.
Of course, yeah.
But I think originally it was Bette Midler.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you name drop. So just like you have to take a pause and hit him with the last name.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just call her B, but whatever.
You do?
Yeah.
You don't call her the divine Miss M?
No, just B.
Yeah, well...
oh, wait, no, that's Barack Obama.
No, shit.
Shit.
How many B's do you have in your phone? Do you play the spelling bee and
also
connections?
Bryce Dallas Howard. What's that?
Oh, and you call her a lot just in that redhead club. But I'm not on the thread. I'm not in
you
the
were
group
on
chat.
the thread, but you won't answer.
Yeah. So anyway, it was... like, yeah, you don't want to fuck with fucking Linda Blair and fucking Billy Friedkin. That's nuts. And then they were like, and Marlon Brando is doing it. And your dear heart, Andy Richter.
Yeah, Andy was in it as well, yeah.
But really, Marlon was my way in. At the time, I was like, that's working with Brando, so...
Gotta do it.
You gotta be like, your mother sucks cocks in hell. You gotta. Like, you just... are you gonna do it better than she did? You're not. You're gonna ruin it, but it's Brando. And then he shows up, and he... he was very, very old.
And ill, I think. Yeah.
Yes, and an oxygen tank and earpieces and... I've told this story on your show live, but I guess it's to tape, but I'm not involved in the editing.
Yeah. That really didn't need to be qualified. But anyway, go ahead.
And if you're not familiar with Conan's work, so he, there was this talk show, and
I love how you get to the part where Brando shows up. Now, of course, Conan used to tape his show. Now he'd tape it at 5:30, but it wouldn't air till 12:30. So there was a lag in which time they could make short edit. You're getting to the best part of the story,
and now you're making it longer.
I know.
Get to Brando.
Sorry, we're all gonna die.
You want the full story? As he was like, because of the breathing and, the bed was sort of one of the gags it was like a lowrider that would move all crazy, like Pimp My Ride style, which I think he'd never seen. I don't even know if it was out yet.
Yeah.
But space-time moves in all kinds of directions.
Yes, it does.
So anyway, he would keep his hand right on my tit. I think because I was in the prosthetics, did not understand that like I was a real person at all. And because he was so busy with the oxygen tank and trying to hear the lines in the bed, kind of shaking and rattling.
You're giving him a lot of credit.
And despite what my mother said, it's a fucking nice rack. You know what I mean? So you know what he was doing, and I was like, wow, this is like a fucking pretty serious day at the office. You know what I mean? Because
so you're standing there, and you're in all these prosthetics. Marlon Brando, who doesn't have long to live, has his hand on your breast
for like hours. You know what I mean? At a time, and I'm like, that's fucking Brando. I mean, is it fucking big boy Brando? Yeah. Can he breathe? Not really, but is he all there? I mean, nope. Is it the sort of acting face-off I dreamed of? Well, it's no On the Waterfront, but
if you look at On the Waterfront, he's got his hand
on Carl Malden's breast.
Carl Malden's breast. They tried to cut around it.
Now they do. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess I am a fucking contender after all, and so on. So I was thrilled and delighted. I thought it was fucking pretty special. Then when he dropped out of the film the next day due to his health, and I think he died 3 weeks later.
Yeah, he died very shortly afterwards. Yeah.
I maybe am I don't want to make it about me, but. I may be the last person that he felt up. I don't want to assume that he was it's not a big deal. It's just sort of like, yeah, pretty much Brando and I banged it out hardcore, you know what I mean? And 3 weeks later he died, and that was the last time that he could fucking manage it. And then the next day they brought in James Woods.
Mm-hmm. This is how every story ends. And then they brought in James Woods.
So
Godfather 4.
He was less of a charmer. In the makeup,
less of a charmer than the man on oxygen, whose hand is on your breast for 6 days.
Because he was like, I can tell even with the makeup, you're a spinner, right?
What?
My
No.
Yeah, and that was, I thought, less sexy than, Brando, who was just fucking oxygen, pumping and oxygen. It was crazy. No, that didn't happen. And, but yeah, the James Woods one was like, oh, that's weird. But I fucking think James Woods is a great actor, despite the fact that he's a Republican, psychopath, sort of, I don't know, was hitting on me as a teenager in full monster makeup.
Good Lord.
Pretty specifically, there's a crazy move, dude.
He has a type.
Yeah, I guess he does. And, but my God, Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in America, and multiple truths hold.
You see all facets of the human condition, is what you're saying.
I'm just saying.
You see the high and the low.
He's that guy's a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the fuck Brando was up to, but it was nothing too kosher himself.
Listen, he was
Maria Scheider,
just looking,
right?
he was just
Last Tango, him and Bertolucci are fucking the shenanigans. They're getting into it.
You don't call that shenanigans.
You call it rape. I see. That poor chick fucking never recovered from that picture, did she? But it's a real buttery scene. So, and multiple truths, There
are multiple truths. There are many multiple truths.
And in a way, it's like, are they time crimes or what? Because I think that just raping and abusing women throughout history has been, for reasons that are very obscure and mercurial. conceptually and morally, we're just sort of a fact of life. And I don't know. I'm just riffing, like Miles Davis might. Yeah.
I'm just, I don't know. That's for you, because you brought up, I think, 75 different incredibly heavy topics, but I don't, and of course I don't have an answer for any of it other than, that I think what comes to mind is me thinking about you going through all this without functioning parents, being really young and figuring it out, and you've come out of it on the other side, and you're a remarkably, I think, intelligent person who's also there's a complete lack of judgment. You're not judging people. You've been through a lot. I feel like you've been through 50 lifetimes of madness, but you are very even-keeled, and you keep bringing up this concept that many things are true. That someone can be a monster, but they can also be a brilliant artist. And then you see all this 3-4 dimensionality to it, which I think is pretty amazing that you can look at it all that way.
Yeah.
Because I think we live in a time where people just want to hear, was someone good or was someone bad?
Yeah, it's a bummer.
And it doesn't work that way.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yup.
But that said, I'd like to end on, I think I'm good. Very good. And I mean perfect.
That's not the takeaway from this.
I mean perfect.
No.
In every way. And there's no layers.
Hard disagree.